Hi, it's Sarah, and I have light this time. Yeah, you can kind of see my face. I actually had the overhead light on, but if I turn it on much more, it my face disappears and turns white, and it's not very flattering either. So I look like I've been punched in both eyes, but it'll work for now. I really need to do this in the daytime. Okay, so I had something I wanted to share with you. You know how we have safe foods, all of us, pretty much? Well, I have safe colors, and this is one of my unsafe colors. It's this greeny, yellowy, periwinkly color. Anyway, so I decided I was going to go with slippers first, and they've got a pretty little ribbon, and they make my feet feel all pretty and girly, and so yeah, I'm very excited about those. Anyway, that's my sharing for this week. Okay, so the question that I chose to address, or the topic that I chose to address, was suggested by Pixie Dust 1014 1014 1014. I don't know how you say that or whatever. But it goes, what treatment philosophies work best for you? And then Bybounlessgrace replied under that, this was mine also. So apparently it is a topic of interest. And it's a very cool question too. Okay, so these are my thoughts on treatment. First of all, I don't like the term hitting rock bottom. Everybody goes, oh, if you hit rock bottom, or when you hit rock bottom, they'll get better. I don't like the idea of hitting rock bottom. The distance that I can fall is only limited in the distance that I can fly, soar, climb, reach, whatever metaphor you want to use for success. And I don't know what's scarier, having the distance that I can fall be forever, or having the distance that I can fly be finite or limited in some way. So I have decided that people hit rock bottom when they stop digging. Yep. It's simple. You get to choose when you hit rock bottom, and the people around you can facilitate or manipulate the circumstances so that you choose that faster, but you will never hit rock bottom. You will just stop digging. In terms of treatment, I believe probably the most important circumstance, or the most important treatment philosophy for me, is control for the patient. I think that whatever is done, in healthcare and nursing especially, we work to preserve dignity. And the same needs to be done for eating disorder patients, obviously, but you need to add the aspect of control in there for them. A lot of times patients will complain, eating disorder patients will complain that they find leaving their eating disorder so distressing because of the control aspect to it. And I am no exception. I still find it very hard to leave my eating disorder some days because of the control. For the longest time, I controlled what went in my body, I controlled what went out, and when, and where, and that was really hard to let go. It is still hard to let go. But if you can give the patient enough control in their treatment setting, they're going to be way less tempted to stray back to their eating disorder. If they have enough control outside of their eating disorder, then they don't need to seek it within their eating disorder. A lot of times people are like, well, structure's necessary. Absolutely. I believe that structure is 100% necessary too. The problem is that structure doesn't mean taking control away from somebody. It means facilitating and manipulating the circumstances and the environment so that the structure sort of just happens. And, if someone agrees to go into inpatient on a locked ward, like I did, a lot more times than I'd like to admit, that's still control. I made that choice. Nobody forced me in there. I made that choice. Ideally, patients should choose treatment. I'm not against court-ordered treatment. I'm not against putting kids into treatment, because I know that the eating disorder just totally skews your thoughts and makes them so distorted and completely illogical that sometimes that's necessary. But I think that, again, we need to preserve dignity, and we need to preserve the control for them. You know, due process needs to be served if it's court ordered, and, you know, for kids, we need to be able to work so that they start to feel that they're controlling something in it too. But you can manipulate the circumstances rather than control them. If you manipulate the circumstances such that the choice that is in the best interest of recovery is most appealing to the eating disorder patient, then they're going to choose that. I mean, it's human nature. And for them to choose something that is in the best interest of their recovery is so empowering for them, and it doesn't foster any sort of dependence on a treatment team, which is in the best interest of long-term recovery. So for example, I don't believe in locks on bathroom doors. You know, instead I think that the day should be scheduled such that there is activity after every single meal, and immediately after every single meal. Like, we used to go down for a smoke break, coffee break, and then go straight to activity. There was no time to have symptoms. Like, there was just no time there. You know, if you don't have the time or the opportunity, you're not going to have the symptoms. You know, and plus, when you get home, you don't have locks on the bathroom door. You know, how are you going to go from having locks on the bathroom door and not? And, you know, that's like, it's not going to work. I believe that patients should choose their meal. You know, this idea of being plated, you know, having a plate of food thrown in front of you, I don't like that idea at all. I think it's cruel. I think patients should be able to choose what they eat. You know, they have to choose what they eat when they get home, so you better start now. You know, if they refuse to choose certain food groups within a regular meal plan, then yeah, you might have to say you have to choose one of these food groups, but you can give them a choice of which food in that group. And, you know, I don't think I ever had any of my treatment teams say, you have to do this. It's more like, I encourage this, or, you know, I would like for you to challenge this. You know, it was never about, you have to do this. I think that moderate activity should be allowed. I found it really difficult to go from no activity in inpatient to being at home and trying to regulate activity. As long as patients are gaining weight if they need to, or at least maintaining weight if they don't need to gain weight, and they agree to compensate for the activity that they do, I think that it should be part of the treatment plan. I don't believe in supplements, you know, except under circumstances where patients can't gain weight, or they're consuming large numbers of calories. It's not, you know, it starts to look like binging if you eat that many calories in one sitting. Then supplements are most definitely called for. I don't like the idea of NG tube feedings or other tube feedings. It's just unnatural. You know, if there's some sort of medical protocol calling for it, then yeah, I'm going to be a doctor. Hopefully, I'm not going to deprive someone of something that's going to make them medically more stable. But if you're not stable enough to be in treatment without an NG tube or a feeding tube, I don't personally think you're ready for it. I think you need to get stable physically before you can do that. Just because the whole NG tube and the tube thing kind of fosters a sick identity, like the ill eating disorder patient identity, and that's just not good for anybody. Same with day and weekend passes. I think that the team should together, like the eating disorder patient and the treatment team, should decide under which conditions day passes and weekend passes are given out. You know, basically it just has to look like the eating disorder patient and the treatment team are fighting the eating disorder, rather than the treatment team fighting the eating disorder and the eating disorder patient.